Hello, it's Martin here with some GCSE Maths revision. Today we're going to look at adding, subtracting, multiplying and dividing fractions. Typically a topic that students do find hard or do find it hard to remember what they've done. Now the purpose of this video is it's supposed to be some short, sharp maths revision for your GCSE. Not designed to take any longer than 10 minutes. If you do feel that you need more practice on this, then that's when you need to go and look at some textbooks, look online, look back at your notes, okay? But hopefully we'll at least get you a little bit better with your fractions by the end of this video. So we're going to start first with adding fractions, and this is probably the hardest of the four. So we're going to do an example. We're going to do 2/5 plus a quarter. So I'm going to give you some examples and then some practice for you at the end. So 2/5 and a quarter. Now the problem we have here, think back to that lovely pizza I showed you at the start, that fifths and quarters are different sizes of fraction. Okay, a fifth and a quarter, they're different sizes. It's hard to add them. So the first thing we need to do before we do anything else with these fractions is we need to find a common denominator. Don't make the mistake of adding the tops and adding the bottoms. Can't do that. So a common denominator is a number that 5 and 4 both go into, i.e. a number that 5 and 4 are both factors of. If you're struggling with this, work through your 5 times table, work through your 4 times table, and then it's the first number that you come to will be that common denominator. Okay, we can say 20 is a common multiple of 5 and 4 because 20 is in both the 5 and the 4 times table. Okay, alternatively you can just times these two bottom numbers together and you'll always be able to find a common multiple, but it might not be the lowest one. You might have to do a bit more simplifying down the road with that. So that number we come to is 20. So what we have to do then is our second step. Whatever you do to the bottom, you must do to the top. This is the same when we were doing equivalent fractions, simplifying fraction. This is a skill you've got to get down, okay? Because this also comes under some ratio work when you've got to find equivalent ratio and you've got to do the same to both sides. Okay, so it's really important you get this concept of whatever you do to the bottom, you must do to the top and vice versa. Remember, the posh name for the bottom of your fraction is the denominator and the posh name for the top is the numerator. So we have to look, what have we done to go from 5 to 20? So how many times does 5 go into 20? And how many times does 4 go into 20? So 5 goes into 20 4 times. So what I've done is I've multiplied my denominator by 4, and on the other fraction I've multiplied the denominator by 5 to get to 20. Therefore, because I've times the bottom by 4, I have to times the top by 4. And because I've times the bottom by 5, I've now had times the top by 5. And I get the following, 8/20 and 5/20. Okay, I've not changed the sum, it's still the same sum. For example, a quarter of a pizza is the same as 5/20. One way, I split the pizza up into 4, and I take one part of it. The other way, that's the same as splitting a pizza up into 20 pieces and taking 5. The first way, I break it up into bigger pieces but only take one of them. The second way, I break it up into much smaller pieces but I take more of them. So it's still the same amount of pizza, it's still the same sum. The last step is probably the easiest. You just add the numerators together, but be careful, you keep the denominators the same. It's just like any simple adding problem, okay? I have 8 of something and I add another 5 of something and I get 13 of them. But in this case, this something is 20th. So if I have 8/20, add another 5 of them on, I end up with 13/20. Now, because I want to keep this video short, subtracting fractions, just the same as adding, but this time you have to remember to subtract your numerators, okay? So if we did that example, we'd just do 8/20 take away 5/20 this time. Okay, just do 8 take away 5 to get you 3/20. Multiplying fractions. Just remember this rule, okay? You multiply the numerators, you multiply the denominators, okay? Now with adding, we couldn't just add the tops, add the bottoms. Which for that reason, personally, this is my personal opinion, I think it's easier than adding, okay? Because all we have to do is multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms, and that's pretty much it. We do have to remember to simplify like we do with all of these. So just remember, multiply the tops, multiply the bottoms, but then if we have to, we're going to simplify. So here's an example. We've got 2/3 and we're going to times them by 3/4. Now remember my rule. Multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. So on the top I do 2 times 3 for 6. On the bottom I do 3 times 4 for 12. So have we finished there? Well, not quite. Okay? We must remember to simplify. So what I need to do is I need to find a number that goes into both 6 and 12. That number would be 6. Alternatively, you can half both top and bottom and then divide by 3. So I do this, I get a half, okay? So that's because 6 goes into 6 once and 6 goes into 12 twice. Dividing fractions. Now we've already had some pizza, now we're going to have some KFC. So why KFC? Well, KFC stands for keep, flip, change. Okay? What we're going to do is we're going to keep our first fraction the same. We're going to flip the second one, and then we're going to change the sign at the end. Okay? Let's have a look at an example to illustrate that. So 3/5 divided by 1/4. What this means in terms of context is how many quarters go into 3/5. Imagine a pizza again. 3/5 is slightly more than half. So, you know, just to do an estimate of what we expect to get in this answer, we expect it to be 2 and a bit. But let's find out exactly what the answer will be. Remember our KFC? Keep the first one the same. Nothing's happening with that 3/5, okay? We keep that as 3/5. But the 1/4 we flip. So when I say flip, I mean we change the numerator and the denominator over. So 1/4 now is 4/1. Finally, I change the sign. So that divide is now a times. Okay? It's nothing illegal. Okay? Because I've changed the second fraction, that means I can change the sign. Okay? Because I've changed that second fraction, I've changed the sign. So it all balances out. And then just remember what I do with multiplying fractions. I multiply the tops, that's the numerators, and I multiply the bottoms, that's the denominators. 3 times 4 is 12, 5 times 1 is 5. My fraction is 12/5. That's what we call an improper fraction, the 12/5. Yet again, because of time, and I'm more focused on the adding, taking, times, and dividing, if you're not sure how to change that into a mixed number, as such here, then might be able to do that at a later video, okay? But just a quick explanation why 5 goes into 12 twice, but 5 times 2 is 10, so I've got 2 left over, so it's 2 and 2/5 is another way of writing 12/5. Okay, now it's your turn. Here's 4 questions. What I want you to do is to pause the video, have a go at looking at his questions, and then press play, and then you'll see the solution. So pause the video now, and then I'm going to show you the solution. So let's look at the solution for this. And you've got the following answers there. Okay, well done if you got those. If you're not sure, leave a comment in the box below, or email me at college, or ask me at college how I got some of these answers. And I'll be happy to give you any feedback, or if anything else on this video, or any other topics you maybe want me to look at in future videos. Okay, this has been Martin here. We're doing adding, taking, timesing, dividing fractions. Okay, good luck with exams coming up. Make sure you are doing that revising. Okay.